Vanakkam, Namaste, and greetings to all. You're all joining in at different time zones in the world. So I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you meditators today. Today is Wednesday, 5th of March, 2025. We have reached 1,391 days of daily meditation. We are very grateful to all those who have contributed to this tremendous achievement. We provide meditation in the mornings and evenings. Today's program will commence with a brief explanation about meditation led by Dr. Jagannathan Master, Thanks to the Universe by Dara Master, and then our speaker is Stephanie Mugo, and her speech is on my experience on becoming the observer and how it shaped my spiritual journey. Then there will be discussion and question and answers by Stephanie Master and translation provided by Kumarasamy Pillai Master. Now I invite Dr. Jagannathan Master to conduct the meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara Master. Good evening, everyone. In a short while, we shall conduct meditation for up to 30 minutes. Thank you for joining to participate with us. It is known that sleep offers respite for our body and to refresh it. Likewise, meditation offers respite for our mind and would refresh it. Before commencing meditation, we shall recite the following affirmation. We shall attain the very best of health and prosperity and be able to live happily. Our lives would remain peaceful in every way. We are blessed to have this opportunity to perform meditation as a group with the courtesy of this forum. Before starting meditation, consume some lukewarm water and place the remainder besides you. If this water does extract the energy from the universe during our meditation, consuming it will enhance the benefit we receive from the universe. We shall now get ready for the meditation. Sit on a comfortable chair or on the floor in lotus position. Place your spine erect and relax your body as much as you can. Remove any spectacles if you are wearing. Interlock your fingers and place your hands over the lap. If seated on a chair, place your feet crosswise. Close your eyes gently and concentrate on the breathing. Breathe in and then breathe out in the usual manner. You may concentrate on the music that will be provided shortly. If your thoughts deviate, ignore them and return your focus again on the breathing. Thank you. There are 5 seconds left to complete the meditation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now separate your fingers and place them over your eyes and slide them away. Now open your eyes and return to your usual position. We shall now express our appreciation to have performed this meditation as a group by clapping our hands. Thank you. I shall now hand over the forum to Tara Master and Tama Master.
Thank you, Dr. Jagannathan Master. We are all united with the goodwill of the universe. We have done a powerful collective meditation highlighting peace of mind and health. When the meditation we do for ourselves is done collectively, it becomes a social force and has the power to expand at the level of home, street, city, country, and the world, encouraging everyone to engage in such meditation. We also express our heartfelt gratitude to PSSM Tamil Europe, PMC Tamil TV for providing the facilities. Let us sincerely wish you, Valha Valamudan, Valha Valamudan, live prosperously and make peace, good kindness, health, and harmony in the world. Thanks goes to Anuruddhi Master and Sri Kandaraja Master for this platform. Thanks goes to Dr. Jagannathan Master for guiding the meditation. Thanks goes to myself for the music. Thanks goes to Bhavani Master for the recording. And thanks goes to Sri Kandaraja Master for displaying the flyers. Thank you all. Let's welcome Stephanie Master. She has been practicing meditation more and more until it became very much a way of life for her. She seeks the blissful peace of moment and is on the path to share this wonderful experience with the topic of my experience on becoming the observer and how it shaped my spiritual journey. She runs regular yoga classes with PSSM on Zoom and in person in Hyde Park, London. Now the platform is yours, Stephanie Master. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. And thank you for providing this wonderful platform. Thank you for the opportunity to meditate all together. It is such a powerful experience that I really enjoy every time. So today I am going to start with an image that came to me this morning. We are the observer. Oh, by the way, I am sharing my own experience only. Only my own experience, what I've gone through, what I have experienced, what I've noticed in me, the shifts that have happened in me, and how I've progressed through my meditation journey. So this morning, this image came to me that the chaos of life is a river, and we are the observer sitting at the side of the river and watching. And in the chaos of the river, there are the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts, the people around us, the world, altogether, which in certain people's beliefs can be called the Maya, and so the illusion. And I came aware that as we are sitting at the side of the river, as I am sitting at the side of the river and I'm watching the river go by, doing meditation means I am detaching from the river. At first I'm swimming in it and I love swimming, but I don't want to keep swimming in the chaos. Instead, I'd rather sit at the side, feeling peaceful and blissful, sitting on the universe, really, and then watching the river go by. Now, my journey started, and some of you already know this as you've listened to my talks before. My journey started as a child when I was going swimming, funny enough, in a beautiful river. And I used to go with my friends, but I used to be the only one staying the whole day in a river. I would stay in the water from the moment we arrive to the moment we leave. And I would just enjoy the water, and I would come out of there, and also sometimes sunbathing. I would come back home and I would have my head would feel blank. It would feel as if it's filled with the sun. And so that was my starting point with meditation, but at the time I didn't know it. Now, fast forward to it must have been around 2010, where if I did my maths correctly, I'm not going to do them correctly, I would be 42, I think, at the time. No, that can't be. Anyway, I'll be between 30 and 40. And I did a meditation. All of a sudden, I just decided I'm going to take a mala beads necklace, which has 108 beads, and I'm going to chant Om for every bead, which is it's a regular practice in meditation. People taking the mala beads and doing a chant according to the number of beads. So I did that, except that I hadn't had much experience, apart from my childhood experience. I hadn't had much experience of meditation at the time. And I was fully still in the chaos of the river. And I did the chanting, and I did the whole 108 times. So I would breathe in and then I'd chant Om as I breathe out. And it took me about 20 minutes. And after that, I simply completely collapsed. I was sitting on a futon. I collapsed on the futon and I couldn't move. For about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, my body wouldn't move. If there was a fire and I had to run out, I would have. But I simply had no will whatsoever and no force whatsoever to move a small finger. And After that, I had a journey of awakening from that moment. I started by not being able to fit into the work where I was anymore. I would get more and more stressed by it, and I would feel so pressured, and I would take more and more time off. My body would get more and more ill with issues like diabetes, for example. And I left work and I started my own business as a therapist, and it wasn't going well to begin with. I was really in the river, swimming in it, and I wasn't doing much meditation until 4 years later. 4 years after that event, then I met a meditation teacher and I started doing meditation. After that, I did the chanting. I was not able to listen to someone talking to me for more than a few seconds, and then my attention would go. I would be completely somewhere else within my thoughts, and it would take for the person to talk at a different tone or to move their body for me to bring my attention back to what they were saying. Now, most of us do that once in a while. However, it was happening to me all the time, and whenever I would go back to the conversation, I'd have absolutely no idea what the person has said. Completely blank. If I wanted to start a task, I would be able to do some of it, but then I would scatter and would not be able to focus through from very near the beginning of it. I just would not be able to go on anymore. It took me so until 2014. In 2014, I met that meditation teacher. And then in 2015, I started practicing meditation with him, but I would only do like 2 or 3 sessions. And I felt this is what I need to do with people. This has been my journey for many things, including being a therapist. I experienced something, it felt so good, and then I decided, okay, I need to be doing this with people. And so then I started, with very little experience of meditation to begin with, I started teaching meditation to a group of people. And I would be guiding them, and it would come and they would receive the vibe or wisdom from the meditation practice that I would teach, and they would go on a meditation journey. So that was in 2017 now. By the end of 2017, I was doing more regular meditation. So that means I was practicing more and more being the observer, because being the observer is being in that state where we are, where we get to when we practice meditation, which is to notice things but to not be interacting with them. It is to perceive and find the center of peace within all what's happening. For me, at least, that's what it feels like. So I was doing more and more of it. And by the end of 2017, I started to have, to come into connection to certain energies. And for example, quite a few gods that I connected with. And also elements like the earth, the planet Earth, for example. And in terms of God, for example, in 2017, I connected strongly with Shiva. And then, so that when I say connected, what that means is that I would sit in meditation and then I would feel his presence, or I would feel his energy, or I would see images of him, or I would hear phrases or words would come to me. Then it was Ganesha. Then I connected with Kali. And little by little like this, there was more and more entities, gods, even locations sometimes. Even sometimes, like, for example, a forest. And I would feel the energy, and it would shift me inside. And now I was very aware of the power of energies, and I had become a Reiki healer also. And I would really be able to sit back more when I'm doing Reiki on someone, and I would be able to see things like people's chakras and how they change and how they shift and what they look like. And when I say seeing, I mean in my mind. My eyes would be shut, but in my mind I would see those things. And then I did my yoga teacher training in 2021, and one of the teachers there explained how the healing works and how with meditation we achieve certain things. And he was explaining we've got a carrot which needs to be plucked, which is something that is creating us stress or needs healing at the time. It can come up as sensations in the body, it can be emotions, it can be thoughts, or it can be all of it together. And when we are healing, so after meditating for a while or after doing any practice that can heal us, the carrot plucks out. And so we feel a relief. Something's come out of us, a burden, a weight, a block. And we can achieve that simply by sitting in meditation. But then he explained, but then sometimes once the carrot's plucked out, at the time we feel better, and then we start to feel burdened again. And he explained, yes, but when you've plucked a carrot out, there's another one underneath that comes up, then it's plugging as well. So when that one is out, there's a moment of relief and we reach a new level of well-being. And then this new one that's grown under needs to be plucked out again, because we are layers. So we are healing a layer, and then another layer comes to the surface, and we heal that layer. That also explains why sometimes we are healing a trauma, and we think, oh, okay, the trauma is gone now. But actually, there's another layer underneath that comes up that has not been healed yet of that trauma. Throughout, and I'm going to talk about this only because that's been my journey, but it is quite a taboo subject in many places and with many people. I was affected by black magic a lot through my journey. It started in 2014. It stopped, I think, in 2017, and then it started again later on. And so throughout the journey, I also had that going on at the same time. So I was plucking my carrots as I was meditating, and I was becoming more and more the observer. But what happened to me as I was becoming more and more the observer, I was becoming more and more sensitive through all of my senses, but I was also developing or refining my sixth sense as well. The sixth sense being what we see and perceive, but that we don't see through the eyes, through the two eyes. And then I did a Vipassana meditation practice. Vipassana, for some of you might know it, Vipassana is normally the way that I know it and the way that I did it, we do 10 days of meditation. And we start with focusing on a point, which is a nostril area. And for, I think it was a day or a day and a half, we did that. Then we started doing a body scanning. So you focus on your body and you just scan up and down. You constantly do that. We were doing it all day, every day. And we were not talking to anyone, not seeing anyone, not going anywhere, in a room that is with the curtains shut, so dark, and simply staying and meditating. And this is a very, very amazing example to show what happens, or what happened to me in terms of my experience as the observer. So at first I did it and I was like, oh, I can't sit that long. Oh, my legs hurt. Oh, this and that. And then it's like, I started to feel like really edgy because no one to talk to, no one to distract me. I was completely faced with myself. And then came an ego crisis. About third day into it, I think it was the first one. And it's like, I just went crazy. I wanted to cry. I wanted to get out. I wanted to see people. I wanted anything to get me out of me. And then once I passed that phase, I stuck with it. I stayed in. I then moved on to the next day where a new level of well-being was achieved. I felt so much better inside myself. That panic moment was an ego, what I've noticed to be an ego crisis. And that is when the ego is dying because we are healing and it's releasing. And as I'm healing and my ego is going into a crisis because it's dying and it doesn't want to die, the ego doesn't want to die. So there's that big fit, this big crisis, emotions all over the place, complete chaos. I'm bang in the middle of the river again. But then I stick with it and I continue to come back every time to being the observer. And at some point, bah, the ego just went. That piece of my ego just went. And it happened a second time a few days later, but that one was not as strong as this first one. And when I came out of the Vipassana, I realized that I had so many less layers of thinking in my mind. And I got into such a peaceful state. And then I thought, now I have to go back into the world and into my life. I don't want to. I want to stay here in this peace. I want to stay here and feel free to be me. And I want to just rest right here. And then I had to go back into the world. And it was absolutely amazing because the days after that, I noticed the layers of thinking coming back and coming back and coming back. First it's one, then two, then three. I didn't have as many layers of thinking anymore because I had let go of quite a big chunk of my ego, but I still, conversations, like I would have different conversations within myself, with myself, and they came back, yeah? And then when I went back among people, I was feeling so sensitive that I could feel tensions and stress areas and tension and stress people. I could feel different places, different energies. I had reached such a level, a new level of sensitivity. And so as I became more sensitive, I became more overburdened by things in the world. And then in a couple of years before that, the black magic had become very strong and very burdening on me. And now it's like I was running away from it, and now I was becoming so sensitive that it felt even stronger. But then I learned through my teacher and then through my own experience that I had become so sensitive that I was actually experiencing people's thoughts. So black magic doesn't exist, but I was feeling and hearing almost other people's thoughts of people who wanted to do me harm or who had negative thinking about me. And so then I really started to look at the observer. I started to look at, and that's very recent, who am I in my head and who do I have in my head that is not me? So I started to observe my own thoughts in that way. And I started to step back and back and back and become the observer again. And where I had reached that very strong level of sensitivity, I then started putting boundaries within me. I started to look at the light more. I started to keep meditating and still continuing to become the observer. But at the same time, I also was understanding better what it means to be the observer and what I'm experiencing inside. And then I realized that all what was happening had nothing to do with anybody else, but only me inside. That it was only me and the river. And sometimes I was right in the river. Sometimes I was sitting at the side of the river and I became the observer. Sometimes I would feel lost in the chaos, and sometimes I would be very clear in my mind, and I would feel very peaceful and blissful within myself. So at that time, I put some boundaries in my practice. Like, for example, I would sit and I would start by clearing everybody out from my mind and my system before I sit in meditation, so that I can find the true essence of the observer. So with this, what happens is that what happened to me is that the deeper I went into meditation, the more I became the observer, the more I experienced the vastness of the spiritual world, the vastness of the energies, the vastness of the universe inside of me. And there was a time there that the ego took over and it became scary. And then by remembering that I am the observer, I would go back and I would learn that this space, this vastness that we are experiencing the deeper we go, was actually the safest place for me to be. and the most comfortable place for me to be. But it is just that the carrots coming up, sometimes those carrots, we can't give it a name, and we can experience them as fear, and we can experience them very strongly as fear, unidentified fear. Then the mind tries to put labels on them. And for me, it was black magic, because that's the fear or the biggest threat that I could think of at the time, that my mind could think of at the time. And then as you keep plucking the carrots and you remove those fears, you then find the peace and the bliss of the observer, is what's happened to me. And now I am in deep understanding that I am not the river. I am the universe. I am that peace, that bliss. The river is my ego. The river is the chaos of the emotions and all the past traumas and everything that we may have gone through. Some people believe in past lives. It can be the past lives. Some people believe in karma. It can be the karma. And the more we become the observer, the more I become the observer, the less labels are put on things, because the less thoughts I have. Because I am no longer thinking so much, I am observing. And I will just finish this by adding that in that silence, in that observer state, is when we receive, or when I receive, the biggest amount of the purest wisdom that can help to guide myself on my journey, and that can help to guide others. And so that's been a very deep journey from the start. Not everyone will experience their journey to be that deep, and everyone has their own ego in their own way. So therefore, that means that everyone's experience of meditation will be completely different. I'm sharing my experience, but that is just my experience. And it's been a crazy ride, but at the same time, I have come to a place now where I have so much of a better understanding of things, but also no need to understand anymore, and to simply be, which I believe is really the true essence of what meditation is. To just be and to just observe. Thank you.
കേൾക്കില്ലയാ? Okay. Sorry. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Excellent talk. Round of applause.
Thank you.
Applause for 30 seconds. Thank you very much. Now, question and answer time. First of all, I am calling upon Narraja Jagannathan.
Thank you. Greetings to everyone. It's an interesting theme, Stephanie Master. I didn't think deeply until I heard I heard what you were saying. I was thinking, well, this is my view. What is observation means? See, the thing is, what we tend to do is, generally, either we observe a scenery or a person, right? Because usually what I'm saying is the scenery or person means as a thought, and also is usually a known person. If you see a pass by a stranger, you're not going to think about him unless he has caused some kind of reaction to you, isn't it? So that's passed by. So normally your observation is about a scenery or a person. And then what happens is either you are anticipating something from that person. Of course, you won't expect anything from a scenery, or you want to commit something to the person. For instance, somebody you're liking, you might say, "Oh, are you interested in me?" Or you might say, "I want interest in you." So these are the reactions. So I think observing means being free from these. So in other words, there's a Tamil say, Summa means do nothing. So in other words, the word Vipassana also emphasizes that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just observe. Don't react or don't judge even, because usually react is because you're judging. But the problem here is not about what you said. The problem about what we encounter is just observing, because the consciousness is always tries to in other words, respond. Even if you're observing a scenery, the conscious, suppose you get a sudden gush of wind, then the conscious will say, oh, is the scenery going to change or is it going to rain? You shouldn't do that either. Like I was saying, this is a very difficult task, but maybe practice will help you. But it's a very interesting, thought-provoking talk. Thank you very much. So I was only thinking deeper and deeper, because I've heard these phrases. People often say, observe, observe. I used to say, laugh. How do you observe your thought? You can't observe your thought. You can observe a person or an object. But what it means is, that's it. Because when you observe, you're expecting a kind of reaction, because there is a phrase that we use called, your thoughts are actually, you're audibling. It's like an audible thing, isn't it? Otherwise, your thoughts is no significance. So people who actually hear it as a proper voice, they're hallucinating. So they end up with a psychiatric care. So we don't go there. But generally, the thoughts are something you're listening to your mind, isn't it? But very fascinating theme and the talk. Thank you very much.
It's interesting that you're saying this, because all of this leads really to detachment and to non-reactive perception. So I was wondering, when I guide meditations, I often say to people, let go of your thoughts. But actually, yeah, we can imagine, and there's this very common way of, for example, noticing that your thoughts are attached to a balloon and then letting them float away. But actually what it is all you're doing is you're creating a gap between your thoughts and your center. And your center is the observer, which is that center of peace within, and which so when we are the observer, we are taking that step back, we are detaching, and it's not something we can necessarily achieve right away, but it's something that comes with practice. As you said, the more you practice meditation, the more you're going to detach, the less you're going to interact with your thoughts, which also means that the thoughts will not grab you as much. And for me, that is the observer. That is that point of peace within that is separate almost from, we are whole and everything is us, but somehow we are kind of stepping back from the ego in that way. We're stepping back from the thoughts and the experiencing. And so, yes, you are seeing that person walk by, but there's no interaction from you, and there's no triggering of wanting to take action. There is no you getting pulled towards a reaction. Instead, there is just the center, the core of peace there.
Another phrase they use is don't identify with it. I mean, it means the same thing. Just pass by. Thank you. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.
Next one, Arundhati Master, please.
Yeah. Greetings to all. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephanie Master, for your interesting and amazing
Thank you.
The experience that you have gone through. I wanted to ask you, you were talking about black magic. And do you believe in that black magic?
No, but I used to. And because, so if we go back to the concept of the carrot that gets plucked out, there are some zones in us that are so ancestral, so deep, like the true essence of us as an animal, that have got those inherited fears for survival. When we do meditation, those things come up and out. But sometimes as they come up, they are experienced in a way that the brain cannot understand what it is, because it's so it comes from so far in the subconscious. And so then this is all what I believe. Yeah, that's only my beliefs. That then the brain puts a label on it so that it can make sense of what's happening. And I cannot tell you why. I guess it's because of the people that were around me at the time and what was happening around me, that my brain chose that label of black magic. But little by little, I learned and I detached from the belief of black magic. And to begin with, what got me out of that was switching my thoughts. I was experiencing things with my body and I couldn't explain it, so I put the meaning of black magic on it. So then I retrained my mind, which means I stepped away from those thoughts and then I replaced them with different thoughts. So, for example, I can feel vibration like that all over me. No, it's not that someone is sending me black magic.
Yeah.
It's actually that I've just eaten chicken and I'm allergic to chicken, for example. Yeah, so I completely rerouted my thinking process. But first, I had to step back from the black magic group of thinking label. And then to change that label at first, and then little by little to completely detach from that and understanding it doesn't exist. And then realizing also why it was happening, which was that I was so sensitive, I could actually feel people's thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, I could understand now because, there is no it all depends on your mind, what you get during the meditation, and these traumas and everything goes away while you start meditating longer time, and your mind will clear. So it's a very interesting, you have been going through so many traumas and different experiences, but you have come out from that now. So it's good to know about your experience, what you are going through. Anyway, the
Yeah.
meditation is a very good that everything will clear from our mind and everything. Anyway, thank you very much for sharing your very good experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arundhati Master. Next one is Shanti Urbansuran, please.
Can you unmute her, please?
Yes,
Because
I will
I'm on the
unmute.
call.
Thank you. Good evening to all, or greetings to all, because at different times. For me, I make it simple. For me, all that is for me too much together. And for me, nothing wrong with your talk, Stephanie, because to make it simple for me, when you say observe, even when we observe my breath during our meditation, your normal breath, I become like an observer outside. And I see what is going on within myself. But importantly, what you said is being non-judgmental. And that is why one Yoga Swami says, Summa, just be an observer. Don't get involved with that and be non-judgmental. And that is what my simplistic thinking does. So when I do that meditation, I do that. So for me, black magic and everything is beyond me. Only I can think of black magic chocolates. I love them. So as I said, I make it simple. I like to make it simple as possible. So it is good. But during that process, what you said also caught me is that you let go of your ego. And that is a very, very important aspect, to let go of our ego. And that you were able to do that. Black magic chocolates or whatever it is, you did that. So I thought you did very well on your spiritual journey, and you do meditation, you have done yoga. What more? Just observe.
That's enough. Yeah.
And you talked about the river, the chaos in the river. And at the moment, we are having chaos in the world with what is going on in US and everywhere. So let's just be ourselves, just observe. I don't get involved with that.
That is in the river. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Go on.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, go on, Stephanie. You do say something very well, very in-depth meaning. Go on.
When things are happening in the world, we can often feel like we can't do anything about it. But actually, the most powerful thing we can do, I believe, is to stay in that observer state, filling our heart with peace. Yes, because then you're taken out of the chaos, you're detaching from it, you don't belong to that. And that center of peace then creates such a powerful vibration that can eventually override the chaos.
I think absolutely. And here we talk about energy because there's
Yes.
energy all around. We absorb the energy. Wonderful talk. Wonderful journey that you had. Thank you. And thank you for sharing it with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Santi Master. Next one is Sudendra Dharma Kumar. Can you unmute, please?
Greetings to everyone. Good evening, Stephanie Master. Very interesting speech. And you shared your experience, meditation experience with us. And something is disturbing. Anyway, and you said that you were chanting Om with the beats. And did you do that before you found your guru, or before that, or afterwards?
I did not have a guru. Through my whole journey, I had my yoga teacher at some point in 2021. And for about a year or so, I connected with him. Everything else I've done on my own.
Okay.
I followed my heart.
Okay. Even the beats and the Om.
Yes.
Chanting. Okay. So that's what I was thinking, because you said you had the yoga teacher in 2014. Am I right?
No, 2021, the yoga teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It was very interesting, the journey you are going to went through all this time. And actually, if it's like an observer, means not to react when people say something. Just like if somebody says something, just be an observer. Don't react straight away. That's what I think. It's the observer me. Am I right or not?
It's about you. This is your inner world. This is what you decide, yeah, or where you are placing yourself through your experience. We all will have a different answer to this question. But for me, being an observer is, yes, it's being able to, you can respond. So for example, right now, I'm responding to you, but I was also observing you. So that means that I had a step back. I am not involved into the communication, the conversation with you, but at the same time, I'm listening to what you are saying and I am responding to it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I am keeping my center of peace within, but at the same time, I'm interacting with you because this is an interaction moment.
Okay. Okay. And very, I really enjoyed your talk. Thank you very much, Stephanie Master.
Thank you for sharing. This was interesting.
Thank you, Sudendra. Next one is Sriskandaraja Master, please.
Greetings to all. You are not only our yoga teacher, but also a wonderful speaker. Very good speaker. Thank you very much for the wonderful speech. We truly appreciate your wisdom and insight. Please join us again for another inspiring talk on different topic. And we have a few announcements regarding our upcoming event. Tomorrow, Thursday at 9 a.m. UK time, our yoga instructor Sarojini Nalanduvan from Sydney will conduct her chair yoga and mindfulness session. And at 11 a.m. UK time tomorrow, 10 p.m. Sydney time, Dr. Raghuraman will deliver a talk on meditation and creativity. And third, that is at 8 p.m. on Thursdays, we have a Kadambam, celebration of music, song, dance, and more. Anyone who can sing, dance, or give a talk, including beginners, are welcome to perform at the Kadambam program. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. That's all. And you can ask Kumar Saipula Master, can you have any comment? Or Madhavan, you want to say anything? Sandos Madhavan from Liverpool.
I want to say greetings to all. I would like to say from Stephanie Master, I like the way that you're speaking well. So I have a question. So, like, when did you do like yoga? Like, when did you do like yoga or doing something like that?
So throughout my life as a teenager, I was doing classes, attending classes like Pilates kind of classes, which is stretching and building up of the core muscles, but without so much of a spiritual incline as yoga. Then across my early adulthood, I would occasionally attend classes, occasionally do practices at home. But in 2021 is when I trained as a yoga teacher. And then I started teaching. I think I qualified in August 21, and then I ran my first class in September 21.
So just for example, so like your experience of becoming the observer, and how it is shaped that your spiritual journey. What was your spiritual journey for your meditation, Stephanie Master?
So the story that I told here during the talk is very much the development of my spiritual journey as I got deeper and deeper into meditation. But basically, I feel like it has been a journey where I've gone deeper and deeper within myself. And at the same time, I have been experiencing more and more of what's happening around. And I learned through the practice of meditation to not get sucked into what I was experiencing as much, progressively, less and less. And I plucked out a lot of carrots along the way is a big part of what my experience was. And sometimes I got really lost into the tornadoes of the chaos of each carrot that came up. But mostly, as I went deeper into meditation, I passed those layers and I went deeper and deeper within me and found really the core of peace more and more and detached more and more. So that now, when I'm facing situations, I am facing it with a very clear mind normally and a very peaceful heart, which allows me to deal with situations without getting lost in all that chaos of that river that I was mentioning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, also, yeah, that's it for today. Thank you. And also, basically, thank you, Shrikanta Raja Master. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, for singing and dancing because I have the GCSEs and also doing opening evening stuff like that. Yeah, I'm really so sorry I can't come.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhavan, Sandos Madhavan.
Thank you.
Next one is Kumarasamy Pilla Master, please. Can you?
Okay, thank you. Greetings to everybody. Firstly, I would like to thank Chief Master for explaining everything in detail from the very beginning. So that's you have gone through various trials and errors, and finally you have become a therapist. Congratulations. So your advice, actually, but the message I am getting is, in life, never react, but learn to respond. That's the most important thing that we have, because in the world then there's chaos. We are wasting our energy focusing on the outside things rather than focusing within. That's a clear message, I understand, because especially when the time is very turbulent, when we look at the news, all are negative. So better not to watch the news personally and focus within. That's the thing I always do now, because the negative news are really bombarded from every TV you see, or something is going wrong everywhere. So your advice to all of us is ignore what is happening outside us, have a journey within. That will give you a peace of mind and bliss. That's what we are looking for. Other thing is we spend more time in meditating rather than gossiping or listening to all those things. Right? That is the thing that we need nowadays, because you see all the media gossiping and creating all the stories. So when you look at the headline is very amazing. But when you go in, there's absolutely nothing. That's my experience. So I take your advice. I will rather be an observer rather than expressing my views or anything like that or discussing with others. Thank you very much for your really very valuable insight and advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for these beautiful words.
Anybody wants to ask a question?
Time for
Or shall we
translation.
go for the translation? Yeah. Translation, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. நான் இன்று செப்ரிமா முகோ மாஸ்டர் அவர்கள் பார்வையாளராக ஆன பின்பு எனக்கு ஏற்பட்ட அனுபவம் என்னுடைய ஆன்மீக பயணம் என்ற தலைப்பில் தன்னுடைய சொந்த அனுபவத்தை விவரமாக சொன்னார். அதன் தொகுப்பை உங்களுடன் நான் பயந்து கொள்ள விரும்புகின்றேன். முதலாவது நாங்கள் எப்போ யோகணும் என்றால் நாம் எப்பொழுதும் ஒரு பார்வையாளர். இதுதான் என்னுடைய இது என்னுடைய சொந்த அனுபவம். எப்படி இது வந்தேன் என்பதை நான் விவரமாக கூறுகின்றேன். என்னுடைய பயணம் சிறு வயதிலிருந்தே ஆரம்பமாகிட்டது. 2010 தான் உண்மையாக நான் என்ன செய்தேன் என்றால், அந்த நேரங்களில் ஓம் என்னும் மந்திரத்தை 108 முறை உச்சரித்தேன். அப்பொழுது ஏற்பட்ட அனுபவம் என்ன மிக அபூர்வமானது. அந்த நேரத்திலே நான் ஒரு சிவனுடனும் பிள்ளையாருடனும் எனக்கு ஒரு தொடர்பு ஏற்படுத்தி கொண்டேன் என்பதை நான் இங்கே கூறியிருக்கின்றேன். அடுத்ததாக எப்பொழுதும் நாங்கள் உள்நோக்கி பெயரும் பொழுதுதான் எங்களுக்கு என்ன மாதிரி இருக்கிறது என்று தெரியும். இப்போ இந்த அனுபவம் என்ன மாதிரி என்றால், நான் தியானத்தில் இருக்கிற பொழுது சில நேரம் அறிவு மயங்கின நிலைமை ஏற்பட்டிருக்கின்றது. அதற்கு பிறகு வந்திருக்கேன். இந்த அனுபவங்கள் எல்லாம் எனக்கு என்ன ஆயிடுச்சு என்றால், ஒரு அறுவை ஒரு மருந்து இல்லாமல் அறுவை இல்லாமல் ஒரு சிகிச்சையாளராக ஏற்ற ஆற்றலையும் அறிவையும் அனுபவத்தையும் கொடுத்து இப்பொழுது நான் ஒரு தெரபிஸ்டாக இருக்கிறேன். தெரபிஸ்ட் என்ற பொழுது மருந்தோ அறுவையோ இல்லாமல் நோயை தீர்ப்பவர் தான் ஒரு தெரபிஸ்ட். அடுத்ததாக நான் எப்பொழுதும் அதன் பின்பு நான் ஒரு தியான ஆசிரியராக மாறினேன். 2014-15 நான் நீண்ட காலம் தியானத்தை பயிற்சி செய்தேன். அந்த நேரத்தில் நான் மற்றவருடன் சேர்ந்து என்னுடைய தியான அனுபவத்தை பகிர்ந்து ஒரு ஆசிரியராக மாறினேன் என்பதை சொல்கின்றேன். நான் 2017 வரையிலே ஒரு தியான ஆசிரியரை தியான பயிற்சியாளராக மாறிவிட்டேன் என்பதையும் கூற விரும்புகின்றேன். அடுத்ததாக 2017 நான் முந்தி சொன்ன மாதிரி சிவபெருமான் கணேசன் போன்றவருடைய தொடர்பு ஏற்பட்டது. 2021 ஒரு தியானத்தை கற்றுக்கொண்டேன். இந்த தியானத்தின் மூலம் உடல் நோயை மருந்தில்லாமல் குணப்படுத்தலாம் என்பதை நான் கற்றுக்கொண்டேன். மற்றது இப்போ இவற்றை நாங்கள் திரும்ப திரும்ப சொல்வதனால் அதிலே மனதிலே ஒரு நம்பிக்கை ஏற்பட்டு அதே நேரத்தில் நான் சில காலங்களில் பில்லி சூன்யத்துக்கும் அடிமையாக இருந்தேன் என்பதை நான் கூறியிருக்கின்றேன். நான் அதிலிருந்து வெளியே வந்து விட்டேன். மற்றது எனக்கு உண்மையான விழிப்புணர்வு ஏற்பட்டது என்றால், நான் விபுஷானா என்ற ஒரு தியானத்தை மேற்கொண்டேன். அப்பொழுது என்னுடைய அனுபவம் மிக மிக அபாரமானது என்றால், அதிலிருந்து தான் நான் என்னத்தை கற்றுக்கொண்டேன் என்றால், நான் என்ற ஆணவத்தை இல்லாமல் செய்வதற்கான ஒரு வழியை கற்றுக்கொண்டேன். இதை நான் எப்பொழுதும் இந்த அனுபவத்தை மறக்க முடியாது. ஏன்னா இந்த காலகட்டத்தில் தான் நான் இப்படியான பில்லி சூனியம் போன்ற மூட நம்பிக்கைகளிலிருந்து வெளியே நான் யார் என்பதை உணர்ந்து கொண்டேன். ஒரு மனத்தில் ஒரு தெளிவு ஏற்பட்டது. அப்போ நான் இந்த நேரங்களில் தான் எனக்கு மற்றவர்களுடைய எண்ணங்களை கேட்கக்கூடியதாக அறியக்கூடியதான ஒரு உணர்வு எனக்கு ஏற்பட்டது என்றால், அதற்கு பின்புதான் நான் யார் என்ற ஒரு ஆய்வில் ஈடுபட்டேன். அந்த ஆய்வில் ஈடுபட்ட பொழுதுதான் நான் தியானத்தை தொடர்ந்து மேற்கொண்டு கொண்டிருந்தேன். தியானம் தொடர நான் ஒரு பார்வையாளராக மாறினேன். அது பார்வையாளராக மாறும் பொழுது என்னுடைய வாழ்க்கையில் பல விதமான அனுபவங்கள் ஏற்பட்டது. அந்த அனுபவங்கள் என்னை புடம் போட்டது. இப்பொழுது அன்றைய நிலைக்கு வருவதற்கு காரணம் இந்த அனுபவங்கள் என்று கூறுகின்றேன். இவ்வளவு தூரத்துக்கு நான் கூட இது இந்த அனுபவங்கள் போனேன். அது கூட ஒரு அமைதியாக இருக்கும் ஒரு பார்வையாளராக மாறினேன். இப்பொழுது நான் இந்த எதிர்மறையான எண்ணங்கள் தாக்கங்கள் இருந்து வெளிப்பட்டு ஒரு உண்மையான ஒரு பார்வையாளராக இருந்து மற்றவர்களுக்கு உதவி செய்யக்கூடிய நிலையிலே இருக்கின்றேன். குறிப்பாக நான் ஆணவம் என்ற முதலே சொன்னேன், அகங்காரம் இல்லாமல் மற்ற அமைதியாக இருக்கும் பொழுதுதான் என்னுடைய புத்தி, கூர்மை, ஞானம் எல்லாம் வெளியே கொள்ளக்கூடியதாக இருக்கின்றது. ஆகையினாலே என்னுடைய அனுபவம் என்னென்றால் நாங்கள் என்னுடைய நீண்ட பயணத்துக்கு பின்பு இன்று நான் ஒரு எந்த விதமான மற்றவர்களை இடகோடும் நோக்கம் இல்லாத ஒரு முன்கூட்டிய அபிப்பிராயம் இல்லாத ஒரு பார்வையாளராக இருந்து ஒரு நோயை தீர்க்கும் ஒரு மருத்துவராக, அதாவது முன்பு சொன்ன போல மருந்தோ அறிவை சிகிச்சையோ இல்லாமல் தியானத்தின் மூலம், எண்ணங்கள் மூலம், ஆற்றலின் மூலம் குணப்படுத்தும் ஒரு மருத்துவர்கள் செல்லாவாக இருக்கின்றேன் என்பதை கூறி இந்த வாய்ப்புக்கு நன்றி கூறி விடவிருக்கின்றேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
நன்றி குமரசாமி பிள்ளை அவர்களே. அடுத்து நடராசர் ஜெகநாதன் அவர்கள் வருகின்றார்.
எனக்கு ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு வண்டர்ஃபுல் டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன் செய்திருக்கார். 30 வினாடிகள் கைதட்டுங்க அவருக்கு தயவு செய்து. நன்றி, தொடருங்கள்.
Thank you, Constable Master. I'm glad Stephen is still there. Just 2 more points. One point, but second one is a question. The first point is let the headlines be red lines. You know the phrase red lines to your vipassana, isn't it? So our headlines are red lines for you. Second one is a question. Because you mentioned the word ego, because recently the word ego conscious was also mentioned in the forum, somebody else's presentation. I just want to get your view.
Yeah.
Because ego conscious means, I thought, people who are egoistic are never conscious they're egoistic. This is a problem. I tell you why. Because until today, I had a little bit of, I want to call it weakness. I don't want to take a lot of time, but that will also explain the first thing I was quoting. There's a chap in my workplace, I am now retired. He's in above me in position, right? I've met him a number of times, but he doesn't converse with me. So every time we cross on the corridor, he ignores me. So I used to fume, is my countryman and why is he ignoring? But today I realize that is your ego. Let people who ignore you ignore. That's it. So I thought the word ego conscious can be misleading, because if you're aware of it, then I wouldn't feel like that. Because I think that sometimes when you use ego conscious means, don't be egoistic, but unfortunately, this is my experience as well. People who are egoistic are never aware of it. That's why they are behaving. So what would you say to my comments, or what would you think about this?
So about the ego, first of all, it's an interesting concept of the fact that there are maybe some people who are not even perceiving what their ego is, are not able to split away from their ego enough to notice what the ego is in them. And I would say that probably that these people might not be ready yet for the journey, or they would need to really just start at the foundation of what meditation is, and with, for example, doing mindfulness practices. The second thing I would say about this is, in society, there's the ego, which we often call pride. And so we get bruised in our ego. I don't know if you've ever heard of this expression, but that for me is a wrong concept of what the ego is. If you are looking at the meditation journey, the spiritual journey to enlightenment, the ego for me is anything that labels you as anything that is not the supreme consciousness. I believe that you've got the human common consciousness here, where we all are to begin with. And then there's the supreme consciousnesses here, which I call the universe, which people can call the divine consciousness or God. And little by little, as you detach from the ego and as you shift into the observer then for me is that supreme consciousness here. And so you're detaching from the common consciousness. And so that means you are removing every label little by little. You're detaching from every label that defines you as anything other than the universe, the supreme consciousness, the divine energy. And this is why I was saying earlier that the most powerful thing we can do, I believe, when there is war somewhere or there's bad things that we believe are happening in the world, is to not get absorbed into it, because otherwise we get stuck again in the ego world, and instead to meditate, because then we come away from that, which means we are weakening the common consciousness and the ego of the world as well as ours, because we're residing here. And so when we're doing this, we are then giving a chance for the world to reduce the amount of inner conflicts, external conflicts, tension, and stress.
Sorry to interrupt. The reason for my frustration is I've come across this number of times. It's not an issue, but this person is very religious. He does a lot of charity. This is what frustrates me. Any other person I would have just ignored, because I'm not that, what you call a fussy person. So that's what irritates me. It's been so-called, it's been awarded some what do you call awards as well recently.
You should talk to
so
Osho.
This is what frustrates me.
You should talk to Osho.
No, these are facts of life, but we have to. That's why I said we have to live with these people. That's it. We can't get annoyed. Like a few days ago, I said,
exactly.
Like giving room for other person to cross you. You have to live with it, get used to living with these people.
So
anyway,
there is what people try to do to be a good person, but even that can be completely rooted in the ego. And then there are people who will use religion and acts of service to feel better about themselves, but who are not at all on the journey of releasing the ego. And so when you're going to meet them, you're not going to be able to meet them at your level of understanding. You will have to meet them at their own level. And therefore, then you will have situations like this occurring. And that's why it's important then for yourself to then, that's what I believe for myself, it's important to detach enough, to be the observer enough, to not care.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Next one, Kumarasamy Pilla Master, please. Unmute, please.
I think we have to differentiate between ego and egoism, two different meanings they have. Because ego is always sometimes good, because I think I of myself. I have a very good opinion about myself. I can do it. That's the ego. But egoism is thinking I am better than the other man. Right? I may make it clear. But ego means I think I can do it, I am good at it. But egoism means I think I am better than the others, run down others.
Yes. But then maybe the ego that you're describing is the part of you that has got that supreme consciousness part to it, and the one that says I'm better than you might be the unhealed ego, and the ego that we are still attached to. Quite possibly.
Yeah, but I am trying to say, see, I need some sort of ego, then only I can build up confidence in me. But I must not abuse it. Abuse it means I think other man, run down other man and think I am superior to him. That is egoism. Right, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Next one is Shanti Master, please.
I think it's a very interesting conversation about ego. I think Freud, the psychoanalyst, talked about ego and also about superego. And I think there are differences there. And I think sometimes, Janardhan Master, I have seen people who think they just walk past you as if they live in a different world. They don't even notice you. So I give them excuses. They are living in a different world, so they don't ignore me because I don't ignore myself. I know who I am. So if somebody ignores me, tatakim, tatakim, tatakim. So what? It is his problem, not my problem. And he may be in a different world, and I leave it at that, and I just carry on. And I think there are layers, as you said before in your speech, Stephanie Master. There's ego layer, superego, and so on. And those layers will slowly wilt away or leave you, and then you really find your real, true personality. And I think Tama is looking at the time, so I'll shut up. It's come to 9:30.
Oh, there's so much more to say about this.
தேங்க்யூ சாந்தி அக்கா. வசந்த ராஜா காய் போட்டிருக்கிற